Good afternoon, everybody. The BMW 3 Series is back, or my BMW 3 Series should I say to be exact, and it has been a very long time since you've had it on the channel now, probably around about a month. And you'll know that the last time we worked on the car, I ended up ruining my front suspension, or so I thought, because what I actually did was completely stupid. Let me give you a quick recap and I'll show you exactly what we're going to do to fix it. Last time out with the BMW 3 Series, I attempted to change the front suspension to the brand new coilovers I got for my car. Let's get the front suspension finished on my 3 Series. And whilst doing that, I had to change both track rods as I actually damaged the track rod ends. We obviously need to get the new ones on because of how messed up the ends are here. But when I actually finished the job and brought the car back down, it was sitting far too low. Just look at this fitment, it is awful. And I thought I had adjusted the coilovers correctly, but as you're about to find out, I was completely wrong. So there you go, you now know that what we did was slam the front of the car far too low to the ground and literally have it sitting on its absolute, I'm not going to say the word because I don't want it to be censored, but you get the idea. So this week we're going to be fixing the suspension entirely because I've got a few things I need to do to the rear suspension to fix that as well. And then we've also got a bit on my door, look, I'll show you, on the driver's side door to fix. This thing here has dropped into the door, so we need to take the door card off and fix that. And then finally we've got a brand new turbo to fit to the car. So we'll do that at the end of the video last because I think that's going to be the biggest job. I just want to get the easy bits out of the way first. So let me just quickly show you how I've already got my front suspension back to being all right like this. Some of the footage is corrupt, so I'll show you the bits I have done and try and fill in the bits that are corrupt. I thought I had ruined the suspension on my car as it is sitting ridiculously low. But thanks to you guys, you've let me know, but I just don't know how to set up coilovers, and that's because I'm not a mechanic, I'm just learning as I go. First up then, we got the car up in the air and we took the front wheel off. So here is how I went wrong. You can see these are the adjusters right here, and they're as low as they can possibly be. They're meant to be up higher because this spring here, basically having it as low as it can possibly be, allows this to compress and therefore the car comes down. So if I have this, well, if I have these adjusters brought up, it therefore means the car gets brought up. It's a really rubbish explanation, but basically all I need to do is wind this up and put the wheel back on until I'm happy with the fitment. So as I said then, you guys helped me out in the comments as one of you said I need to wind up 14 threads from the bottom. So I did just that, put the wheel back on and brought the car back down. Yes! Come on! That is so much better. Thank you guys for letting me know about this. I'm going to do the other side now. And this is the bit of footage that got corrupt. I did adjust the other side. I got it all on camera, but the footage is now gone. So I'm just going to pass back to me now, where you guys can see the final fitment a couple weeks after I did this job. Yep, so it was coilovers just not adjusted the correct way in the end. I am silly, aren't I? I thought the way I had it before was obviously going to be its highest point, but because there's no compression on the spring, like to keep it tight, the car just dropped all the way down. But now I've adjusted it up, it's sitting absolutely perfectly. I really do like the fitment now. It looks epic. But as some long-time subscribers you will know, when we did the rear suspension, there were some bits that needed to be changed eventually because I didn't change them in the video, and they were, I think, some of the guide support bits, and I've basically got them over here in the garage in these boxes just here. So what we're going to do is get one wheel off at a time, just do them because that should be a really quick and easy job as they're only on the shock absorber. So what I was on about then in terms of like the bits that need changing is up here just above the bump stop. You've got like this little metal cap and then this like rubbery cap, and then you've got like another guide support which goes up into the boot, which is up behind these trims and stuff up here, and that is what I need to replace because I didn't do it when I did the rear suspension. And that little metal cap's on top of the bump stop is really rusty, basically falling apart. Once I get it off, I will show you to you and explain exactly what I mean. So the next thing I did was strip out all of the interior bits inside the boot so I could access the top guide support on the shock absorber. And that is the boot completely stripped apart then. Next thing we need to do is take off this little cap over here, and under there is the top of what is the shock absorber out here. So we need to undo that top guide support. It's I think if it's like a 17 or a 16 mil nut, you need a pass-through ratchet or a or a spanner, and then you need like a special tool to hold the top of the shock absorber so it doesn't spin. Exactly what I just said, but with a 15mm spanner instead. So this is the old guide support that we had on the car. Well, this is the new one that we put on, should I say. And you see it's been pulled through the bottom ever so slightly. You can kind of see in that bowing that's on the bottom of it. I don't think it should be like that, meaning that the issue probably was something to do with what's under here. So with that guide support removed, you should be able to pull the bottom of the shock absorber down now. There we go. So this is the bits we need to replace. We're going to keep this bump stop as it's relatively new, but everything that's above the bump stop, that's what's getting replaced. Here we are then, this is what we had on the car. So we had this top guide support, we had this one that was under it which I didn't replace. This metal cap, I told you, look at that, pretty much rusted through. And then this little rubber grommet which goes over the top of that. All of this is being replaced by this kit in here. So we've got brand new parts all round to put on the car. So let's get these back on the exact same way that we had these on, and then yeah, we should be good to go with putting everything back together this side. The assembly for those top parts of the shock absorber goes as followed. It was the metal cap, and then the guide support, the rubber cover to go over the top of it, and then that gets pushed up into the top of the boot, and then the top guide support mounts it all together. Well, that took a bit longer than what I expected, but we've now got this side completely changed, and the new guide support is in there as well. So I'm just going to quickly put this side back together and do this side as well, but we'll just catch back with you once it's all done. So I haven't actually quite finished the other side yet, but if you're questioning why I'm doing this job, this is the answer why. Just taking it off, and yeah, look at the state of that. This is exactly why we're doing this. This one was really rusty as well, as you can see, and yeah, that must have just popped right off. Fantastic. I'm glad we are doing this, because hopefully now, I don't know what that's going to change, but you don't want that on the car. And there we go, we are now all back together with the rear of the car. Both sides of the suspension now should be pretty good. We've changed everything, so front suspension, all of it's been changed pretty much, except obviously the arms and bits and bobs like that. All the rear suspension stuff's been changed as well, so hopefully the car now will be riding pretty good. It does anyway, I can tell you that for a fact, but yeah, suspension complete. Really happy with that. The next thing we need to do is obviously fix this little door problem. I can't imagine this is going to be too difficult of a job, so all we need to do is just get the door card off, and then I think we need to just pop this back into the motor that puts it up and down, and then put the door card back on. But yeah, let's do that now. To start, we need to just pop this panel that sits along the main part of the door off first. We go. Next is a couple of crossheads which sit in these gaps right here, and then the door card should come off. So there's now 3 bolts which sit up behind that panel we just took off. They're T20s. Now we've done that, we should be able to pull this off away from the door. Just be very careful with it. There's a load of electrical connectors in the back. So the bit we're concerned about is this here that's dropped off. So this is meant to be sat in, if I can find it. It's on the door. Here you go. It's going to be sat in this little thing here, and it's going to be clipped in tightly. And I think what happened is it just came off. It wasn't in as tight as what it was meant to be, and therefore it fell off the door. But yeah, we're going to fix it back into place now, and hopefully it will not come off after that. So with that in properly, we can now get this door card back on. Just be careful, just not break any clips. We're going to put the bolts back on. Right, let's just test to see if this is working. Hopefully it is. Yes, yes, easy fix. I knew it would be. It just fell off just like I thought it had. Sweet, we've got that back working. Just need to put that panel back on quick. Sweet, there we go. We have got one last thing that we need to do this week, and that is the new turbo on the car. So the turbo that we're going to be putting onto my car has been sent out to us by MAXPEEDINGRODS, and they're who have sponsored today's video. Right, before we start any work then on obviously changing that turbo over, what I'm going to do is just show you what it's like before, because it really does drone and it sounds horrific. You hear that? sort of noise, that is the turbo droning. So yeah, it's an issue that we're gonna have to fix, but obviously that's what the new turbo's for. There you go. That's how loud it can get. It doesn't sound good at all. Okay, so now we all understand the issue. It's time that we actually get to fixing it. So what we're gonna need to do is take off this front plastic cover here and the air box first, as well as the air mass sensor. So off that comes, and then yeah, that bolt there, that one, and then there's two along the front here. Remove all of that, and we'll go on to the next bit. Hoodies off, t-shirts out. It's got really warm in the sun, but yeah, so we've taken these bits off like we needed to. Next we need to get off this breather pipe, which looks like it's just clips and then kind of pulls back like that. And then we've got to take off that little bolt. You see it just there? Yeah, we'll take that off, and then there's a clip down at the bottom, kind of down here where my hand is, which if we push down, which I think I might have just done already, this pipe here, you see this one right here that's feeding air from the airbox into the turbo, that is exactly what comes off next. Well, I accidentally just snapped the breather pipe from here off of the feed pipe into the crankcase, or the rocker cover. It's like a crankcase breather pipe, I think, or something like that anyway. I snapped it by accident. So we ordered a new one. We'll get it tomorrow, which is fine because we won't be probably putting this back together until tomorrow, because this is quite a big job. In the meantime, what we need to do is undo that little bolt there and take this pipe off. There we go. That's come off. Yeah, there's a bit of oil in this pipe. Don't know if that's a bad thing. Maybe the turbo, well, the turbo definitely is on its way out, but you can see that clip now that we took off. You can see how it works as well. If you just push it down like so, like that, you see it comes off, and then to put it back on, clips back up like that. But yeah, there's that pipe off. Pretty nice. We can also see into the turbo now as well. I can't tell if there was a issue with it. It's definitely not seized because it spins quite nicely, but yeah, I don't know. It doesn't seem to be loose. Seems to all be spinning okay, but yeah, it's a good job we changing this anyway, because who wants a stock turbo? So the next thing I did is I removed the electrical connector for the wastegate, which is also got the mass airflow sensor on, so we can just move these out the way. There we go, they're out the way. I think next I want to remove the two bolts that are actually holding the wastegate up. I'm not quite sure what this cable is, but it's kind of just here in the way. I'm just gonna see if we can move that a little bit. But yeah, these two bolts here, which hold the wastegate up, and then we should be able to drop that off sideways. But I do believe that it will be connected to the turbo, at least a little bit that actuates the wastegate and stuff. It'll be connected to that. So yeah, let's get those two nuts off quickly, or bolts should I say. That's those two bolts removed, and yeah, I was correct. This is connected to the wastegate on the turbo. I don't know if the camera will pick it up, it's a bit dark, but yeah, I'll put an arrow on the screen now. You can see where it's connected to the turbo. There it is, right there. The bolts we need to get to next then are behind this heat shield in here. So there's a bolt there, and I believe there's another one at the back. That should come off. We also want to take off the intercooler pipe down here. I think it's the same sort of clip that held this pipe on, so we could drop that out and then yeah, get that heat shield off as well. Okay, so I am struggling to get the intercooler pipe off because the little metal clip is held in by two plastic inserts on either side, so struggling to get that off. But I've got the heat shield off, and I've also undone the exhaust clamp down there. Next thing we need to do is take off these three bolts, 1, 2, and then there's another one back there, and that should be the turbo free after that. So yeah, pretty good going at the moment. It's got dark yet again. I mean, it always does, doesn't it, when we do something like this, especially with it getting really dark really early now. We need to get lights and set things up a bit better, but we have actually got the turbo out. Look at that. I can't believe I managed to do that after about an hour of running around. We've actually got our hands on a double hex socket set, which is exactly what we needed. And yeah, we've managed to get the turbo out. This is such a big achievement. Honestly, I can't believe I've done this. Bloody February this year, I would have never touched a car like I have. questionable what I just said, but no, it's crazy. I can't believe I've just removed a turbo from my car with no mechanic experience or qualifications or anything. I literally just do it on my own. It's like crazy. I can't believe this. This was actually a really straightforward job as well. Obviously we took the airbox off to start with, then we took like that panel off there, the engine cover, then took the air pipe off, we got the intercooler pipe off and everything, and then all it was at the bottom, there was that bracket right there, and then that oil feed. I actually think that's an oil return. Those were just 3 bolts on the bottom. And then there was that just there. That's a oil. I think that one is the oil feed. That was sat in the top of the turbo. And then obviously the 3 bolts that are underneath this heat shield now. That's all that was holding it on. So really not that complicated. But yeah, tomorrow is the complicated job. Getting the turbo back in, as well as these parts right here. So we've got a new oil return pipe, new exhaust bracket, and loads of new bolts and everything. And we've got loads of bolts over here and stuff at the moment. And yeah, it's all a little bit of a mess. But tomorrow we'll get this all back together, and then we will start the car and see if it works. But let's just get to tomorrow where we fit the turbo again. What work did we actually get done last night? Obviously we got the turbo out. Here's what's left of inside the engine now. So we've got all the bolts back in place for where they need to go. And we've just got an empty engine bay down there. And this is the old turbo right here. We've got the wastegate to take off. We've got that heat shield to take off. I think that is it. And then we've got the brand new turbo from MAXPEEDINGRODS right here. It looks phenomenal. Looks really, really nice. Pretty much the exact same turbo. It is a stock one. It's not an uprated one or anything like that. So this should just be the exact same power output as what we had before. But maybe we get it tuned in the future and see if we can push it a little bit, and then possibly upgrade the turbo in the future if we need to. But for now, this is going to be a perfect like-for-like replacement, and I'm really happy with it. And the first thing we need to take off this old turbo is obviously the wastegate, which is these 2 bolts, and then it's also held on the lever just here. So basically when you let your foot off the accelerator, it will push this lever and basically dump all the air out of the turbo to stop it basically feeding air into the engine when it doesn't need any. So we have to find out how to do that, but I know these 2 bolts remove it from the main body of the turbo just like that. And yeah, now what we need to do is find out how you take this off. So I'm struggling to get that wastegate off, so what I'm going to quickly do is just remove this heat shield and get it installed onto the new MAXPEEDINGRODS turbo. There we go then, that is the heat shield installed. So if I pop off this cap just here, looks like there's a O-ring which you need to just slide on. And I've got a whole new kit here from BMW with everything that needs to be changed when changing a turbo. And yeah, we have got that gasket in here, so we'll put that on next. Here it is, let's just pop that over. Lovely. Right, we've got that new gasket on. O-ring, should I say, not gasket. I know how you take the wastegate off. So there's a little clip which just needs to basically be pulled up and out the way, and then it should come off. Okay, all we need to do is just tighten these down, and then we should be good to go with this. Okay, that is the new turbo built, but before we do get it in, I've just realised we need to get this oil line in, which sits underneath the turbo and bolts up into it. So that is our next job. Okay, that was a tough job, but thank you very much to my dad. A massive shout out to him. Big up Father Bryant. He helped me get the turbo in, and there it is in place. What we now need to do is get everything else back on. So we need to get like the oil line on, or the oil feed, the oil return. We need to get the bottom bracket on, the intercooler pipe, and just everything back on the front, and then we'll be all done. So we're gonna start working at getting all this back together, and then we'll try the new turbo out. Fingers crossed it works. Update then. So we have got the oil feed pipe on, we've got the bracket underneath on, we've got the we've got the oil feed pipe mostly on, but I've dropped a few bolts in on the tray, so I'm going to jack the front of the car up, put some jack stands on the side so I can actually get underneath the car, and might be able to get the underpart of the turbo on better, with better access being under the car. I'm not sure, we'll see if that works, but yeah, let's just get the car in the air quickly. So we have made really good progress. We've got both the oil lines on, the top one and the bottom. We've got the bracket on the bottom all tightened up. We got these, obviously 3 bolts on top. They are nipped up, they need to be tightened up. I'm now going to do the exhaust clamp up, these 3 bolts up, and then everything on the front needs to be done. So we need to put the intercooler pipe back on, which is just down there at the moment, and then we can put like the air feed pipe on, the airbox on, and then obviously the breather pipe as well. But yeah, we're getting there, nearly done.
Turn up. You better be there when I shake. Watch me rockin' if I can't stop. If I should fall, just go ahead.
Sorry I'm not recording much of this at the moment, guys, but it's because my GoPro is nearly going to die and we're running out of daylight, so I'm just trying to focus and get this done as quick as possible. But everything on the turbo is now tight. We've got the first electrical connector back in for the blow-off valve, or I think that's something to do with that, or the wastegate, something like that. I'm not sure. I think that's the wastegate. But next we're going to put on the air pipe here, which then bolts into the side of the wastegate there. And then the air box is on after that, and then last of all the breather pipe, and then we're pretty much there, and that'll be it all done. So yeah, we're getting real close now. We are all back together then. You probably can't see the car, it's a bit too dark, but yeah, we're back on the floor, everything's together. We've got to start this, and oh, hit the wall. I don't like this. This reminds me of when we did the 1 series that time. Let's turn the lights on, actually, ignition and lights so we can see things. Right, 3, 2, 1. Sounds fine. Dad's then give it some revs. Sounds good? Dad thinks it might be sounding all right. Let's go have a little look. You think it sounds okay? Yeah. Oh, no, music's come on. I mean, I won't know until I drive the car. Hey,
nothing sounds loose, nothing sounds cranky, clanky. Yeah, it's just something's not fitting correctly. All sounds.
Let's check if it's leaking any oil. Ooh, smoky a bit. Oh, here we go. Dad's going to give the car a few revs. No, that's pretty good. Whoa, whoa. That's loud. That sounds sweet. That sounds really good. We changed the turbo successfully. We did that, guys. We literally just changed the turbo all by ourselves. Little to no mechanic experience even 7-8 months ago. How insane is that? Oh, come on. I'm so gassed with that. We literally just changed the turbo on my car. Get in. It sounds sweet. I mean, we'll go on a drive tomorrow morning when it's lighter just to find out, but that sounds really good. Well, it would seem as though we've got a slight smoke or air leak. We'll find out what that is.
Could be any one of these.
It could be. I've changed all of this, so all of these O-rings, everything, all the gaskets, a lot of it. First time for doing it though, we've done pretty good. And yeah, big shout out to my dad for getting the turbo in the car. What can you say, eh? Just that good. Genius. Right, we're gonna leave it there for tonight. That seems like job well done. Gonna go on a drive. Well, I'm gonna go on a drive now, but you won't be able to see anything because it's too dark. But yeah, I'll catch back with you tomorrow morning where we'll actually on a drive on video and yeah, see if the turbo has made a difference. But yeah, catch you guys in the morning. Good morning, everyone. I have pretty much just crawled straight out of bed and straight into my car because we want to test this out now. She started up absolutely fine. We're here in the middle of my road, ready to go on a drive. Hopefully we've got boost and hopefully the turbo is working fine. We don't have any leaks or anything. We're going to test that all out now. Let's get going. Here we go then. We still have the droning noise. So the problem is obviously not the turbo. I have no clue where this droning noise is coming from. If it's not the turbo, I don't know what it is. Let's give it some beans. yeah, we're still droning. I don't know why we're still droning. I don't know if the car feels slower though as well. It might be. It doesn't seem like it's got the sort of pickup that it had before. So what do you think is causing my engine to drone, guys? You hear that? Please leave your suggestions down below, because now I really don't know. I thought it was the turbo, but clearly it's not the turbo. What could it be? Please help me out down below. So there we go. We know that has not fixed our issue. It is still droning. We have no clue why, but at least the turbo's working and giving us boost and doesn't seem to have any faults. So I think it's time to talk about today's sponsor, which is obviously MAXPEEDINGRODS, who sent out the turbo. They do things like turbos, coilovers, intercoolers, basically anything that you want to upgrade on your car. They've got it on their website, and I'll leave links to them in the description. I think use code SAM, or I'll leave the code on screen right here to get 10% off when you're checking out, and thank me later. They have really quick shipping and delivery, and their parts are really high quality. So I recommend you go look on their website. You will not regret it. Quick update as well on the Corsa. It just failed its MOT on quite a lot of stuff. So we've got a load of things to fix because the car is on track 1 week today, and we need it to be MOT because I need to drive it up there. So we've got to fix all of that in next week's video and get the car MOT'd, and fingers crossed it passes. But yeah, it's not looking good for the Corsa at the moment. Anyway, thank you guys ever so much for watching. I'll leave links to MAXPEEDINGRODS in the description, like I said. I'll see you next week on Sunday. Have a fantastic week, and I'll catch you then. Peace out.